Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Building Science Digest. I'm your host, Christian Kennedy, and today our guest is James White. James is a senior product manager for residential roofing, and we are going to talk about all there is to know about impact-resistant shingles and what the heck that even means. James, welcome to the show.
Christian, I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to the conversation.
At the highest level, before we get into any of the nitty-gritty, we need to figure out what an impact-resistant shingle is. How do we get to this point? Why do we as maybe homeowners, customers, an audience, why have we heard so much about it over the last 12 months?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And whenever I talk about impact resistant shingles, I'd be remiss if I didn't start by talking about the weather. Uh, we've had a proliferation of severe storms recently, and when we talk about the storms that we're seeing, we often reference them as severe convective storms, SVS. We see them traditionally in the Great Plains of the U.S., so anywhere from Texas all the way up through the Dakotas and certainly the Midwest. And what's happening is that we're not only seeing the more frequent storms, but more severe storms.
Right.
So with that, the damage is increasing. When I talk about severe convective storms, I'm really talking about three things. I'm talking about tornadic and straight line winds, heavy rains, and hail.
Okay.
But we're really, when we talk about impact resistance shingles and the benefit of having an impact resistant shingle, you're really talking about hail and what they do.
Specifically.
Hail specific. Yeah.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, because if you look at the statistics, about 70% of insurance claims in that central part of the U.S. Are related directly to hail in the roof.
Okay.
So what's happening is that impact-resistant shingles are becoming more popular because if for no other reason, insurance companies are trying to mitigate some of those losses.
Sure.
They're looking at losses annually now of about $50 billion
Wow.
of insured losses. So that's why they're looking to us as manufacturers to develop new products, develop more robust, resilient products that help mitigate some of those claims and ultimately have a roof that lasts longer.
Okay. And so you mentioned the key part there is the roof that lasts longer. So an impact resistant shingle that goes over the roof, it's not just about the shingles though. I think there's more of a system, and we talked about this a little beforehand, that allows that roof to last through the hailstorm and through the crazy weather that they do experience right in the plains areas. Talk about the system that actually helps all of that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, there are impact resistant shingles, but that is just a piece of the pie. I am a very strong proponent of the systems approach to roofing and resilience and durability.
Mhm.
There's a few methods out there. Certainly the CertainTeed Integrity Roof System is very popular.
Sure.
And it really helps mitigate some of these losses and prevent water intrusion at the end of the day is what you're trying to do. The other method is the fortified system that's been developed by the folks at IBHS, the Insurance
Another
Institute for
popular
Business and Home Safety. Yeah, but truly at the end of the day, when you're putting a roof on and when you want a roof that's going to last and be durable and live to fight another day, it's really about the details. It's really about putting the nails where they're supposed to go, making sure the sealant's sealed down.
Mm.
There's a famous quote. Fred Malik, the managing director from IBHS, often refers to it. The quote is that you get what you inspect, not what you expect.
Okay.
It was popularized in the 90s. A gentleman named Louis Gerstner, who was the CEO of IBM in the 90s, credited with turning around IBM during that time. And he coined that phrase because it's really about accountability. And when you have this systems approach, the IRS, Integrity Roof System, or the fortified roof system, it's really about the details.
Yeah.
And that's what really separates a robust, resilient roofing solution from your standard roof out there.
Your standard roof, excuse me. I just know that was a great little history lesson there too. So what you're saying ultimately is that outside of the system and it's the details within it, but I think there's also, when we talked about this beforehand as well, but levels to the impact resistant shingles that are out there and right that are offered. I think specifically class 3, class 4, and then we can even dive a little deeper later. But at that surface level, at the highest level, talk to us about class 3, class 4, the testing that goes into that. UL rating gets thrown out there a lot, and just kind of work us down to that detailed level that we were talking about.
Yeah, in UL 2218, that's certainly the most recognized method in the market right now. It was developed decades ago. A gentleman named Doug Dewey with State Farm had a lot as far as developing that program. It goes from class 1 all the way through class 4, but really from an impact resistance perspective, you're only concerned with class 3 or class 4.
Oh, interesting.
But it's very popular. I think a lot of people in the industry recognize it's a steel ball test where you're dropping a 2-inch steel ball from 20 feet and onto a roof deck a number of times. Then what you're doing is looking for cracks or breaches.
Okay.
Again, what you're really trying to prevent with your roof cover is water intrusion, and obviously, if you have a crack, it's going to cause some water intrusion. So that's typically rated class 3, class 4. Again, recognized by insurance companies as an impact-resistant shingle. There's 2 more that are also very popular. FM 4473, FM Global.
Okay.
Developed 4473. It's an ice ball test. What they're doing is they're firing an ice ball at a roof deck. It was originally developed as a impact test for siding, but they recognized that some of the testing protocols and criteria would work well on an asphalt shingle deck.
Oh, interesting.
So what they do is basically freeze balls like your I would in the freezer,
Right.
and fire those in a pneumatic cannon and look for cracks as well.
Okay.
Again, they use a class 3 or class 4 rating system similar to
Okay.
UL 2218.
And that you mentioned that twice now. So the class 3 and class 4, those types of shingles are the ones getting tested specifically through these 2 or 3, or you have to pass those to get the class 3 or class 4 rating.
Yeah, I would say that the class 3 and the class 4 shingles are what's being recognized by insurance companies as an impact resistant shingle, and then something as an upgrade to your standard shingle on your roof. The third and probably the test that has the most momentum right now is what's put together by the folks at IBHS. Again, I mentioned that earlier. It's the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. They are a nonprofit scientific research lab in South Carolina, and what they've developed is their own proprietary ice ball test, and they have ice balls that they make in their lab, which most closely represents what's found in nature. So they're injecting oxygen, they're injecting CO2 and in a water blend. So they're testing ice balls up to 2 inches, firing at a roof deck. And they're not just looking for cracks, they're looking for things like dents and ridges, measuring that. They're looking at granule loss because granule loss exposes the asphalt, which makes it susceptible to UV exposure. And they're also looking for what they call breaching or cracks, which again leads to water intrusion and a failure of the roof system.
So they're making homemade ice balls, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Proprietary ice balls.
Proprietary ice balls, gotcha. So it's not just going outside and finding. You're not making your own snowball, if you will.
No, that's not going to cut it. Nope.
Just making sure, just for the audience at home. So you mentioned the three tests there, and of those 3, the most recent one is clearly the most probably the most popular now, or that's the one that's gaining most momentum, as you said, right? Meaning more so, is that the fortified that we keep hearing about nowadays, where the last test is specifically not about the shingles themselves, but more so everything that happens outside of the shingle or impact shingles?
So to clarify, IBHS developed the fortified system, and the fortified system is it's basically a prescription above and beyond standard code to make your home more resilient and more impervious to things like high wind, hail, and in rain. So you don't need a class 4 impact resistant shingle for a fortified roof.
Gotcha.
It depends where you are in the country. What you can get is a fortified class. It's a impact resistant supplement.
Okay.
So you have to pass their criteria. So they don't recognize UL 2218 or FM 4473, but you can get a supplement if you're using a impact resistant shingle that is on their list as recognized.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's good clarification. You'd also just touched on the lack or the granule loss. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to talk about. I believe it's the polymer-modified shingles, PMAS, I think is what we talked about. Is there a correlation there, or SPS? Or walk us through how those two are connected and what separates the PMAS from an SPS and so on and so forth.
So from a high level, you did mention granule loss. So I would say that there are three mortal enemies, if you will, of an asphalt shingle roof. One being hail, two being straight line winds, and three being UV exposure.
Okay.
So there's considerable data that speaks to the asphalt being exposed on your roof to premature aging, which leads to the asphalt drying out and cracking and fuzzing ultimately.
Problems, yeah.
Yeah. So what's being developed, what has been developed in the market, is what we call polymer-modified asphalt shingles.
Okay.
And these shingles, the modifier is what we call SBS, so styrene, butadiene, styrene. It's pretty much a product or a component that's being used throughout the manufacturers, and it's got a rich history. It goes back about 60 years. It's something that started in Europe in the mid 60s, interestingly, and it was developed in cooperation between Shell Chemical, so Shell Chemical being the petrochemical arm of the Shell oil that we're all familiar with, and a underlayment company called Shiplast. And what they've done is they recognized after World War II the changing needs of underlayments and building materials, and they need to be more robust, more weather resistant, and more flexible. So they started adding SBS to their bitumen product, which is what's used in flat roofs and in commercial applications. So that started in about mid 1960s. Again, very popular in Europe. It didn't really get traction in the U.S. until about the early 1970s, and it was W.R. Grace and Co., who we know as Grace Ice and Water Shield.
We do.
So they brought that to the U.S. and they started to get very popular with that product in about 1972, 1975. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And that's what we know, or that's what we utilize, that technology on the class 3 or class 4 impact resistant shingles that we now have here at CertainTeed. Is that correct?
That is correct. So as it's developed, one of the early adopters of SBS in asphaltic shingle applications was actually Malarkey. They started doing it in the mid 80s. And then we worked on it. Our first SBS product here at CertainTeed was our Northgate product in about 2015.
Oh, wow.
But we've been developing it ever since. We had another product come out early 2021, and we're always looking for ways to integrate it into our portfolio because we feel very strongly that, again, with the weather changes and hail becoming more prolific and the damage that it causes, that an SBS portfolio is going to be key to growth in the future.
Yeah, it sounds like the benefits are just, the list goes on, right? And I think specifically for the class 4, and not that you need it for, again, fortified, but it's part of our IRS, right? It's our integrated roof system that allows us as CertainTeed, as the brand, the manufacturer, to almost perform at another level. Moving forward or looking ahead, as weather patterns get more aggressive and change more frequently, what do you foresee happening in this industry, and most importantly for impact resistant shingles?
Yeah, it's interesting you use the word anticipate because nobody can really predict the weather.
It's true. Weather,
even now, but all we can do is be prepared.
Yeah.
It's get ready now for what may or may not happen in the future, but it's been pretty consistently bad, we'll say.
It's changing.
It's changing, and what's interesting about the storms that we're seeing, I mentioned earlier about severe convective storms, and it was a pretty narrow pathway traditionally up until about 10, 15 years ago. What's going on in our building industry, and we're obviously very closely tied to the built environment and development. Even if the storms don't get worse, even if the storms become less frequent, the number of homes being built every year, you're talking over 1 million new housing starts every single year. And where are they building them? They're building them in Texas. They're building them in the Carolinas. They're building them in Minnesota and in the Dakotas, places that see these severe weather events.
Right, the wide.
So, I mean, simply put, there's more targets to be hit by this hail. I often think, I used to live in Texas, and I used to have a 50-acre ranch backed up to my house, and I could almost guarantee if I drive down there now, that's going to be a 200 home development. Yeah, and again, it's just more targets to be hit, more homes, more cars, more property and casualty losses for the insurance company. So
which is why it's more of a issue now, and why CertainTeed is at the front of the race, if you will, right? With the offering, the product offering that we have. Speaking of that, I know we had talked about this a little before. Product offering, and the reason that this is important now is because it allows roofers, contractors, whomever it may be, to offer a wide variety, right? Speak to why that is so important, not only to us as the manufacturer, but to our customers at the end of the day.
yeah, and it's interesting. I talk to contractors all day, every day, and what we as a manufacturer try to do is give them all the ammunition they need to sell, and be it marketing materials, literature, but certainly the products.
Mhm.
We are very strong proponents of going to market with a good, better, best portfolio, and when they go to market in these hail-prone regions, they're selling a product, they're selling a premium product that could very potentially last longer than your standard oxidized asphalt shingle. And I have these conversations, and I say, what's your motivation for selling this? Like, it's going to last longer. It's going to be one less job that is going to turn around and come back to you. And he's like, I recognize the value of the product and the durability of the product. And quite frankly, if I don't go to the homeowner and offer them that premium product, the next guy knocking on the door is going to. And so he's like, I want to make sure that I present myself as someone offering them value, and I'll sleep better at night knowing that I've given them the best product that we have on the market.
And that, would you say that that is a direct tie into the homeowner and the insurance premiums and all these? Like, it seems to be that what we've discussed thus far is all very well correlated to something that storms are getting worse, weather impact is larger, the area that it's impacting. Connect that to, all right, well, roofs need to last longer and withstand more damage, or not withstand more damage, but withstand more.
Mhm.
And then all the way to homeowner insurance premiums. Is that the necessary trend that you're seeing in the future as well?
Absolutely, absolutely, and the increasing premiums that we're seeing year over year is something. It's sort of become a runaway train over these past
Mm.
couple of years. And in conversations I've had with large insurance companies, they recognize that they can't keep pulling the lever of increasing premiums. Like, they feel like they're at a breaking point. Homeowners are at a breaking point. Something needs to give, and certainly something like this. Offering them a Class 4 shingle gets them a discount on their insurance premiums. It depends on where you
Or
are.
is like a win-win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You pay a little bit more upfront, but then you get a discount. You're probably breaking even in year 2 or 3. So, and then you're enjoying the benefit for in perpetuity
Mhm.
till that roof eventually needs to be replaced. But yeah, it's something that homeowners are becoming more educated on. I think insurance companies support it and push it and try to educate the
Yeah.
homeowners as well, because they don't want to be paying out these losses every year. Um, Certain areas such as Larimer County and Boulder County in Colorado have made it code to have a Class
Oh,
4,
wow.
because they've seen so much damage recently, be it from hailstorms. So any re-roof or new development or new build in these counties
Is gonna
requires a
require a
Class
Class
4
4.
shingle.
Oh, wow.
So
Now, is that a trend you expect to see in other regions, areas of the country?
I do, and every state's different. Every state's vastly different as
Yeah.
far as um,
We know that, yeah, without a doubt.
the landscape. But yeah, even looking at Colorado, Larimer County was off by itself years ago, and then with Boulder coming on board, Boulder is adjacent to Denver, so making this investment is better in the long run for everyone, homeowner, the insurer, et cetera. So I see that becoming a trend in the future.
What else do you wanna share? What else can you share about that? Is it the science behind the shingles? Is it the impact that it's having on the homeowners themselves? Give us a little more insight into what you potentially see now and then into the future for specifically this industry and impact-resistant shingles.
So whenever I have the opportunity to speak with contractors or homeowners about impact resistant shingles, there's always four things that I bring up. First and foremost, the benefits associated with the impact resistance. So hailstorms or wind driven rain, etc. Two being the granule adhesion that you get. So
Mhm.
with the SBS modified asphalt, it's rubberized. It's a little bit softer. So when in the manufacturing process, when we press the granules into the mat, they press a little bit deeper,
Hmm.
hold a little bit tighter, and then they're less likely to be pulled out or blown out or removed in
Right.
any way.
Right.
3 is certainly the insurance discounts associated with it, and 4 is the cold weather flexibility in using a polymer-modified asphalt shingle.
Sure. We didn't even. Yeah, that's right. Totally. That's a
Uh,
great advantage. Yeah.
yeah, and it's really something, the homeowner won't recognize that as a benefit, but certainly the contractor
Right.
does. And usually it's done in the context of them being able to stretch their season out.
Mhm.
If they can work a little bit later into the fall, get a few more jobs in, start a little bit earlier in the spring, get a good start to the year, that really speaks well to obviously their profitability, their ability to retain their workforce throughout
Mhm.
the off
Yeah,
season,
for a longer duration.
and quite simply make their job easier when they're up on the
Right.
roof.
During the cold, the cold winter months, the
Yep.
cold fall months, whatever the case may be. It's just so interesting, and the industry seems to be catching on. And I think CertainTeed has a wide variety of products. Right, we talked about the product portfolio that are class 3, class 4. Um, Ultimately, as we look at it, I think you and your team and the CertainTeed Residential Roofing team is in a great position, right, to take full advantage of what is
Mhm.
happening. Right, you talked about the weather changing at a very fast, rapid rate.
Mhm.
And I think it puts you and your team in position A.
Yeah, we really strive to educate, um, not only the contractors, but distributors and certainly homeowners, and we're really trying to drive, awareness and, again, there's a lot of benefits of using a Class 4 shingle, but there's also benefits of having a robust systems approach to your home and your certainly your roof, so we do everything we can to get out there, get the word out, and spread the gospel of resiliency.
The gospel of resiliency. Well, you heard it here first. James White, thank you so much for coming on to Building Science Digest. Thank you all for watching and listening. You can continue to watch and listen anywhere you get your podcasts. Thanks again.